I come from a long line of people who loved photography. I am lucky enough to come from a lineage that has photos as early as 1930s, 1940s of family members and significant events. Not everyone has access to that history, and I feel very lucky to. I'm currently holding a camera that my grandfather gave me a couple years ago, and he was a forest ranger, so he would have documented a lot of landscape changes and people throughout his life. I don't take that history for granted. I feel very lucky to have seen through his eyes and the history that he would have seen that it feels like now we are losing a little bit. And I think I didn't really find it as important to document the now. I think I, for a long time, was looking behind me. Lately, life has been looking different with the now. If you're new here, welcome to Saltmarsh Films. My style of film on this channel has really been developed with, you can kind of see the change when Dehancer came on to the scene, and they reached out to me a couple years ago and gave us access to their plugin with Final Cut Pro. I have used that for all of my videos and all of my photography. Someone described it as feeling nostalgic for a memory they never had, and I love that description. Dehancer makes that possible with their film emulation app. I know there are other film emulation apps out there. I've only really used the color grading option in DaVinci Resolve, but I'm a big fan of Dehancer. It gives me the ability to manically move sliders around to test out how I'm feeling about something, or the emotion behind a photo, or the emotion behind a sequence in a video. They now have a desktop app, which is very exciting. I use their phone app all the time. I just kind of load photos from my camera when I get home and casually edit things. If it's more serious, I have loaded photos into Final Cut just to check out the coloring. So having a desktop app is a huge advantage with their new features, which are much more detailed than it was when I first signed on with them. Dehancer has given us access to the desktop app, and if you're interested in getting it, you can get a 20% discount code with the code SaltmarshFilms. So I've loaded some photos in now, one's from a previous trip, and then I was playing around with some light photos and extreme lens flares today, messing around with light and how that would look with some of these presets. So we'll go ahead and look at one of these here. But that's slightly not straight line. You can see to the left they have a bunch of presets. So if you kind of know what you're looking for, you're more familiar with these film stock styles. I have a few of my favorites that I like to start with. If you're going for black and white ones, there's definitely some really nice ones in different color profiles. This is one of my favorites. Just the colors. They just pop. I like the blue tones with it. So you can change all the source information. You can change exposure. Usually I don't mess with that too much. So this is where you can go in and you can also look at your full list where it doesn't show the preview. And then you got your developer, you can mess with the contrast, gamma, color boost. You can make it super, You know what, I don't mind that actually. I also like to mess with the print profile here. So you have linear, and Fujifilm is one I often use, or Kodak print. I also like the glossy. It kind of depends on what I'm looking for in a photo. I quite like the print film on that one. And then you can change all the color head, as we call it. I also tend to mess with these because it changes kind of those highlight colors. And you can mess with shadow tones. So yeah, I edit by feeling. I'm not really sure that there's a major science to my process. I kind of look for a feeling in a photo. I haven't done really mass batch photos. I know that if you're a photographer full-time, that's probably more your approach. You can also add film grain, which is nice. Isn't it funny that we tried to get rid of the film grain and now we're just gonna add it back in. So there's different options for those. Halation bloom is another one that I kind of like too. It can be too much in some photos. And then also you can add film damage, which is another interesting aspect to this. You can add scratches, or you can add the total amount. So you can add a ton or a little bit. You can kind of scale it around, and that creates a different look. It kind of looks like a rain a little bit in this one. And then overscan is something I like to add to my photos as well. I think it just adds a little different look. And then I often am messing with the scale of it, so I like to leave some kind of information on either side of this. This one's different because you have the ocean on either side of this pier. So the colors are going to show up the same, but it's kind of fun to have a little repeat section of that, and then you can kind of change the way it's oriented. Let's take a look at a sheep. Oh yeah, let's go purple sheep, shall we? Got this purple glow on me at the moment. Purple sheep. And then we can go up here. And you can change all that information. You can change the tint of it. Obviously, it's still going to have those hues that's already in that film profile. And then mess with our contrast. You can make it pale, almost like the pale on that. Don't want anything too sharp. Notice here you have to click them on and off. I get caught up with that in the plugin version as well. I'm trying to go through something quickly, so make sure you have it clicked on. We're just going for wild purple tones, because why not? I think we're in this era of everything has to look so realistic, and the colors are supposed to be realistic, and you can mess around with it. Let's play around with one of the ones that has some glowy light. Please ignore my finger placement. I am learning. You can see the beginner tape on it. Oh, that one's got a nice glow and contrast to it. So let's mess around with that one. We can add more of that color boost. So if we're making it boost here, and then we go down and change the colors, and that's really gonna change the feeling of that photo from my experience. I want it to be more, ooh, too red. And then you can mess around with those shadows. Yeah. So this has got, you can add, because that's coming in from the window there, and then we've got this quite significant kind of reflection light going on. I tend to look for kind of a light orange, yellowish hue in the blues and kind of contrast that. That shows up a lot in my own photography, but obviously choose what your style is. Let's see, can we mess with, is that gonna make a lot of, oh yeah, you can see it change there. We can amp that up for this one, have it glow, since there's a bit of blur. I was using a timer, so it's not gonna be exactly crystal clear here on this one. Film damage, probably not on this one. I think it's distracting. Sometimes if you're using film damage, it doesn't look like it's supposed to be there. It looks really digital, so be mindful of that, I guess, or if that's something you're interested in. Oh yeah, so now you can see this is that, the top and the bottom kind of adds more to it, I think. I really enjoy adding that, although I usually scale it out a little bit. Sometimes I just use the edges, so I'm not using kind of the perforated edges. The film strip look, if you will. Yeah, so I usually scale it out so that you can't really see those little strips, and then it kind of creates a nice little border, which I enjoy adding to a lot of my photos. And then, yeah, you got your vignette can pop that up or make it darker. Oh, that's a nice, see? We got some nice blue hues and some orange over here, and then we can just apply it. And then how you export, to my knowledge here, yeah, so you have like one selected, and then you can just, oh, destination folder, desktop. There we go, and then we can just start processing. Export complete. And then we can open it from there. I think to me, I'm always looking for how to grasp that emotion in a photo, and sometimes it can be just something as, you know, simple as a photo of an instrument. How does that feeling behind holding that instrument or that moment in time, how do we express that through how we edit our photos and how we edit our films? So Dehancer is giving me the opportunity to really kind of expand that style to make it feel like a memory, that it's rooted in something in the moment, but also this kind of callback to something that's historical and ancient. As I mentioned earlier, photography is in my lineage. I like to honor that history, not only of in a global sense of our love for documentation, but also the significance of documenting our own lives or people's lives around us and enhancing that emotion through editing. Editing has an immense power, and I hope to use it for good. Yeah, so if you want to check out Dehancer, I'll have the information down below. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know.